Welcome to Advanced Practice, where we brew together the latest thinking in mental health practice. In this 7th episode of our antidepressant series, we are uncovering rapid-acting antidepressants. For more than half a century, antidepressant development followed a familiar pattern. Whether the medication was a TCA, an SSRI, an SNRI, or one of the atypical agents, most treatments work by altering monoamine signaling, primarily serotonin, norepinephrine, and sometimes dopamine. These medications could be effective, but they shared one important limitation. The onset of clinical improvement often took several weeks. For patients with severe depression, especially those with suicidal ideation, waiting several weeks for improvement is not always acceptable. This limitation led researchers to explore entirely different neurobiological systems involved in mood regulation. One of the most important discoveries emerged from research on the glutamate system, the brain's primary excitatory neurotransmitter network. Glutamate plays a central role in synaptic plasticity, learning, and neural connectivity. In depression, stress and chronic mood disturbance are believed to impair synaptic communication within key brain circuits, particularly between the prefrontal cortex and limbic structures. Instead of simply adjusting neurotransmitter levels, researchers began exploring whether antidepressant treatments could restore synaptic connectivity more rapidly. One of the first major breakthroughs came from research on ketamine, an anesthetic that had been used clinically for decades. Investigators discovered that low doses of ketamine produced rapid improvements in depressive symptoms, sometimes within hours. These effects appears to involve blockade of NMDA receptors, a subtype of glutamate receptor. By inhibiting NMDA receptors, ketamine indirectly increases glutamate signaling through AMPA receptors, triggering downstream processes that promote synaptic growth and neural plasticity. This research ultimately led to the development of S-ketamine, the S enantiomer of ketamine marketed as Spravato. Approved in 2019 for treatment-resistant depression, S-ketamine represents the first antidepressant specifically targeting the glutamate system. Unlike traditional antidepressants that are taken daily at home, S-ketamine is administered as an intranasal treatment under medical supervision. Treatment typically begins with an induction phase consisting of 56 to 84 milligrams, administered twice weekly for 4 weeks. After this initial period, dosing transitions to once weekly and eventually to maintenance dosing every 1 to 2 weeks depending on clinical response. The medication produces rapid antidepressant effects in some patients, but because it can cause transient dissociation, sedation, and elevations in blood pressure, patients remain under observation in the clinic for at least 2 hours following each treatment. Despite these logistical requirements, S-ketamine represents a major shift in antidepressant pharmacology because it targets synaptic plasticity rather than simply increasing monoamine neurotransmitters. Another newer antidepressant that reflects this evolving approach is Auvelity, approved in 2022. Auvelity combines dextromethorphan with bupropion. Dextromethorphan acts as an NMDA receptor antagonist and sigma-1 receptor agonist, affecting glutamate signaling pathways similar to ketamine-based treatments. The bupropion component serves 2 purposes. First, it inhibits CYP2D6 metabolism, allowing dextromethorphan to remain active in the body longer. Second, it contributes norepinephrine and dopamine reuptake inhibition. Treatment with Auvelity usually begins with 1 tablet daily for the first 3 days, followed by an increase to 1 tablet twice daily. Each tablet contains 45 milligrams of dextromethorphan and 105 milligrams of bupropion. The development of rapid-acting antidepressants highlights an important shift in how we understand depression. Instead of focusing solely on neurotransmitter deficiency, modern research increasingly emphasizes network dysfunction and impaired neuroplasticity. Treatments that rapidly restore synaptic connectivity may produce faster improvements in mood and cognition. While these newer treatments are not appropriate for every patient, they provide important options for individuals with treatment-resistant depression who have not responded to traditional therapies. They also signal a broader transition in antidepressant research, from monoamine modulation to mechanisms that directly influence neural circuits. Rapid-acting antidepressants therefore represent one of the most significant developments in psychopharmacology in decades. They challenge the assumption that antidepressant effects must take weeks to emerge and open the possibility of faster, more targeted treatments for severe mood disorders. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. See you in our next episode as we explore another emerging frontier in antidepressant development, neurosteroid antidepressant. Bye.